Okay, everybody. I want to go through some things with a fresh install. You know, we always get a fresh install, and to be quite honest, a fresh install modeler, Lightwave modeler, is very, for me anyway, it's very difficult to use right out of the box without some major changes to the interface. Uh, Now, I've been using Lightwave professionally for 20 plus years, and uh, for ordinal releases, yeah, I always go through these steps. For point 1, point 2, point 3 releases, all I do generally is copy the configs, from one to the other. So, this isn't something you have to do each and every time, a new release comes out. Uh, Now, I do believe there is a LD tools, I believe, for uh, moving configs over to newer versions. But quite frankly, I haven't touched those or really know how they work. Uh, but anyway, I just want to show you what I do to set up, a fresh install of Modeler. Uh, I heavily make a lot of changes in Modeler because uh, for me, Modeler out of the box is, kind of hard to use. Now, that might just be because I've set it up this way all these years and got to the point where, I like how it works the way I set it up, and anything other than that is, just not exactly the coolest thing for me, I guess. So let me quit jabbering and just say, oh, another thing I want to say is that I'm I'm not a professional tutorial person, so this is just completely off the cuff. So bear with me. You might want to put your YouTube video on, speed it up 1.5 times or so because I have a tendency to talk rather slow. Uh, but that's just because I'm slow. So anyway, this is a fresh install of Lightwave. Now I'm using a Wacom, and I've always used a Wacom for modeling. Well, always. For the last 20 years, I've used a Wacom for modeling. And one of the first things you do with a fresh install is with a Wacom, what you want to do is go ahead and hit the D button. That'll bring up your preferences and set it to tablet. Now you'll see that I can maneuver with my Wacom, but if I go ahead and make something, there I've created a box and my Wacom's working, but now I hit the T to move. I'm in move mode. I cannot move that box for some reason until I hit the tablet. So personally, uh, this button is not needed. Just set it to tablet because it works perfectly fine with a mouse as well. There I'm using a mouse. They could just completely eliminate that. As a matter of fact, if you do any remoting in to to work, say you're at a uh, remote device, remote computer, and you remote into uh, maybe your office or something, and are using Lightwave, remotely, you actually have to have it on tablet. Otherwise, uh, you won't get any response from your mouse. So that's just a tip that figured that out during COVID. But anyway, so let's set this modeler up to where it's actually somewhat usable. Um, I'm not saying it's not usable like this, but for me, it most definitely is. So I'm going to start off by creating a box. And this is just to kind of show me kind of what's going on here. And I'll go ahead and make that box. And the first thing I hate about quad view is this. I hate how when I move this around, all these views move around. I can't stand that. But that's just me. So again, you go into D, and you can go into these display area, and it's kind of hard to find. They redid this, but it's kind of hard to find. So first thing I do is this. I change these to independent center and independent zoom and independent visibility. So all these will be independent now, or at least the top left one is. And we'll go through all these real quick. Like I say, you might want to speed up your YouTube video because this can drag on. So I made this independent, and the other thing I don't like to see all these little squares. So I just turn off show grid. Okay, the only grid I want to see is the center point. Okay, so that one there is done. So we go to top right, and we do the same over here. Independent center, independent zoom, independent visibility, turn off the grid, and now that one's right. And we'll do this same thing down here. Independent center, independent zoom, independent visibility, and turn the grid off. And again here as well for this one over here. There. Step number 1 is done. Everything is cool and hunky-dory. Okay. Let's go ahead and close that. And now one of the next things I like to do is I don't like this full screen. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's nice, but I want some other tools available to me all the time. And for that, I just pull this over, and I'm going to pull this over, and now I'm going to reveal some of these other tools that I leave open all the time on screen. One of them is the numeric panel. So if I go ahead and make a ball here and open up the numeric panel, it throws it right in the center. Well, we don't like that. Let's give it a home, okay? And one of the things I use is, I'll go ahead and turn it on, is this thing called Aquasnap. And what it'll do, I'm using the free version, and it works on one monitor, as you can see here, but it allows these things to snap into place, which is nice. And I'll bring that out and make it about that big. Okay. And then the next thing I like my layers panel. The layers panel represents these little squares up here. And we'll send that over here. And I'll bring that all the way to the bottom. And then another panel is statistics. And that's this one right here. And what I do with this one is I like to put that one kind of under. Bring this one up a little bit, and we'll bring this over. It'll snap right to there. Okay. And then I'm going to snap this one over, and take this one and snap this one over. And now I have layers with all my layers, and then I have my points, statistics, and my edges and polygon stats. And when I want to go to layers, I got layers. When I want to go to the stats, I got stats. Just like that. It's always open all the time. Now you can, some of you will, move this over and give you all this workspace. Okay? But I like to go ahead and finish this off by throwing in my surface editor. And I like to put that up there because I do basic surfacing right here in Modeler. Okay. And the image editor as well. Throw the image editor over here. And bring that down and over here. Now I can quit Modeler, and start it up, and we'll have this set up like this. It'll be like this all the time. Okay. All right. So one of the other things I like to do is I like to configure my keyboard, my numeric keyboard, to represent these 4 views. Okay. So what I'm going to do is here's how I'm going to set this up. So one thing you know, that if you hit the 0 key on your numeric keyboard, you zoom to that window. Okay, or that window goes full screen. It's kind of like hitting this button up here. Okay. And the other thing you notice, I don't use any of these up here. You can get the same effect like this little move icon thing here. You can get the same effect by hitting the Alt key and your mouse. Your mouse and Shift. Mouse, Alt, Shift. And you can move around. Mouse, Alt, Shift. Move around. Okay? That's what this does. For rotate, for doing this, which you can't do over here because it's not a perspective view. For rotate, it's just your Alt and mouse. Be your left mouse. In my case, it's a Wacom, just using your Wacom pen. Okay. And then your zoom for this, which every window has, is Alt and Control and mouse. Alt and Control mouse. Okay. Alright, so that's how I navigate. So these buttons, they could just throw those away if you ask me. So anyway, let's go back to what I was talking about as far as getting our windows set up. So let's say, I mean, you can work this way. And actually, it's a pretty good way to work. But I like to use my keyboard my numeric keyboard to set up all my views and use a view. So for instance, when I want a quad view, what I'm going to do is hit my control key and the number 5 on my keyboard. And I get this right here. And you go to whole window, and you can type in a preset name if you want, but just hit OK. Okay. And now when I hit my 5 key, I got a quad view. Okay. And then for my top view, I'm going to hit Control and 7. And the reason why I'm using 7 is, think of my positioning on my numeric keypad as the quad view on the screen. So 7 was, in the upper left-hand corner, and 7 on the keyboard is, in the upper left-hand corner. So that's why I use 7. Okay. And then hit 5 to go back to quad. So now I got, see, my mouse is here, and I'm at the 7 key, and I got top view. Okay, I'm going to go back to quad. And now I want my back view, which is front view in my mind. I want that to be my number 1 key, because that corresponds, to the position of the quad view. So I'm going to hit Control and 1, whole window, and hit OK. Okay, and now my number 1 key gives me the front view. And then the same over here. I'm going to hit the Control key and the number 3 key, and that'll give me a right view. Okay, so basically now I'm all set up. When I want to go to right view, I'll go right. Now I can just punch through all of them right like this. Okay, and then the last one here would be my perspective view. And what I want to do over here is I want to hit the control key, and well, first I want to go into perspective view, and I want to hit the control key and hit my number 6. I'm going to hit my number 9 key, and that'll give me my perspective view. Okay, and sometimes you don't want to see maybe you don't want to see the wires. This is what I want to do. I want to turn that off, and I'm going to hit Control 6. Okay, now that won't show the wires. Okay, 9 you get the wires, 6 you get it without the wires. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then got a few more other setups too. Sometimes I want to be in a perspective view, and I want a wireframe view. So I go up here, set this to wires, and I hit Control and 8. Now that will give me a wireframe view of perspective. I do a lot of work in perspective view, believe it or not. So there's no wires, and the clear or the wireframe view. Okay. Okay, and now one of the other views I like to have is, of all things, is a weight view, weight map view. So I go here and select weight shade, and then I hit Control and 4, and that'll give me a perspective weight shade view. Okay, to show your weight maps. Okay, and then finally, what I like to do is I like to have a UV view. So I'm going to change this up here to a UV layout. Okay, and for that I'm going to hit Control and then number 2 key, and now have a UV map space. Okay, so for instance I can unwrap that. Okay, and I got a UV. So all my views are set up. Let's go back into quad view, and that's the basic setup of the views. There's a whole bunch of other things I do, like all these get destroyed. This is a Control Shift left mouse button, and there's a Control Shift middle mouse button, and a Control Shift right mouse button. All those get destroyed, and I put in my own stuff. Stuff I use all the time. So generally speaking, while I'm working in Modeler, I'm at the Create tab or the Map tab. Anything I use inside all these are probably going to be set up using this type of thing. I have Lightwave CAD that you'll get 3 or 4 extra tabs up here. That will be in Control Shift click middle mouse button, and all my Lightwave CAD tools will be here, the ones that I use all the time. My selection tools will be here, and then a lot of my modeling tools will be here. I'll go ahead and just pause the video right now, and I will show you that in one that I already have set up. Okay, so here I have one where it's already set up with all my preferred tools. Got Lightwave CAD up here. I got a lot of Lightwave CAD tools here, and my main modeling tools here, and then more of my selection tools right here. Okay, we're back to the other version that we were kind of putting together, and let's open up this preference panel. So now that I have kind of all this set up kind of the way I like it, I like to do the same way the preference panel. Get that up over here and put that right, layer that right on top. One of the things that I like to do is, because I'm a terrible modeler, is I like to raise my undo levels. I'm going to figure out where those are at. There we go. Undo levels. Yeah, just crank them all the way up to 128. Auto scan plugins, yeah, you can leave that on. And this, I always like to change it to millimeters. I don't like the double click deselect because I'm using a Wacom. Sometimes you'll accidentally unselect, so I turn that off. Leave that on if you want. I want to keep center on selected here. That's in regards to these things. The other thing I don't like is I want black to be my standard sketch color for all the objects I make. Okay, I like black. It's personal preference, that's all. And then I like my tool color to be more of a white. Tool color meaning this here, as you drag out, see these widgets and everything. It's kind of an off-white, but that's what I like. I don't like that crazy red thing they got. All these others I think are fine. But again, personal preference. Do what you want to do there. The other thing you can do if you want, you can have, not really sure what simple wireframe edges are, so I never checked that, but some people would like to have larger points. So if we're in point mode, you can crank those points up, make them a little bigger. I just leave it default. The other thing I like to do extensively is edit my keyboard shortcuts. Right now, there's not. One of the things I try to do here, like deselecting these, I'm left-handed, so I use the Wacom with my left hand, obviously, so that's my right hand is free, and my pinky finger I can deselect real quick by hitting the back arrow, but see, it's not set up to do that. So that, I keep trying to do that to deselect those, but I don't have it set up yet. So I got to go over here. Again, there's a lot of possibilities with Modeler and the way you set it up. So I wouldn't say it's infinite, of course. Of course it's not infinite. Some people don't like how this rotates around. This is the trackball rotation. Some people don't care for how that works. I personally like it, but I can see why people would want something else. So what else do I do other than keyboard shortcuts to get Modeler up and running? I think I showed pretty much everything that I do to get kind of things up and running. The biggest thing is navigation. These things are terrible. If you show me a tutorial where you're navigating the screen like this, I usually start laughing. Don't use these. It's so much quicker to just use your keyboard shortcuts and move around and zip in and out and do your thing here. These I pretty much leave all the same, except like I showed you on that other one, I do add the Lightwave CAD things. I change a lot of this stuff down here. I don't use keyboard shortcuts for any of these selections. Oh, the one thing that comes standard is, keyboard shortcuts for the layers. You hit your numeric buttons on the top row of your keyboard to flip through all these. You can see these change up here. That's really good. You can accomplish the same thing here. So I use both these kind of together in unison, but that's why I like it set up down here. So when I go to layers, I can get in here and see everything, and go to my stats, get to everything here, and it's always here. And some people will have space. I've seen space for this and that, but to me, I just want to have as much room as I want for both those, and this is, in my opinion, a good way to get the room for it. Numeric, you wonder why it's so long. Some of the tools, they get pretty involved, so I just wanted to come down and have everything present. Especially in Lightwave CAD, when you get a bunch of presets and stuff to use, you want that extra space here. The box tool obviously isn't going to give you much. Ball tool, this tool, you don't think you need all that space here, but in some of the other tools, Lightwave CAD, what have you, you want that space. So that's why I have it set up like that. So anyway, I guess it's been a long-winded thing, and like I said, go to YouTube and make it go faster, because I have a tendency to drag on, and I don't know if I helped anybody or not, but this is a good start for me. This is a good start to actually start using Modeler. As it comes out of the box, it's rather annoying, if you ask me. And to have to set it up like this, to me is a good way of doing it. Don't forget Aqua Snap. It'll allow you to snap all these things together, see? And it's a free tool. It's a free tool. So anyway, maybe I'll show some more stuff later on as I get on to bigger and better things, but for now, thanks for watching.